Christianity in America is collapsing in ways most people don't even realize. Entire cities are hemorrhaging believers at rates that would have been unthinkable just 20 years ago. The numbers tell a story that churches are desperately trying to ignore. And what's happening in these 10 cities is already spreading everywhere else. Coming in at number 10 is San Francisco. The city by the bay isn't just losing Christians, it's practically sprinting away from them. Pew Research found that 48% of adults in the San Francisco metro area identified as Christian in 2014. But here's where it gets wild. The trend didn't slow down, it accelerated. The city that once hosted massive revival movements now has one of the lowest Christian populations of any major metro area in America. What makes San Francisco different isn't just that people are leaving Christianity, it's that the ones replacing them aren't even pretending to be interested. The religiously unaffiliated, what researchers call nuns, stand at 35%. That's not a gradual shift, that's a mass exodus. The tech boom deserves some blame here. When you're building apps that reach billions and making six figures straight out of college, the appeal of Sunday morning services starts to fade. Silicon Valley culture prizes disruption and innovation, and traditional religion doesn't exactly scream cutting edge. Add in the fact that San Francisco has become one of the most expensive cities on earth, pushing out families who typically anchor church communities, and you've got a perfect storm. Seattle arrives at number 9. The Emerald City is turning into the empty pews city. Pew Research data shows Seattle following a remarkably similar trajectory to San Francisco, just a few years behind. In 2014, about 52% of Seattle adults called themselves Christian, but the trend lines were already pointing down hard. The Pacific Northwest has earned a reputation as America's most secular region, and Seattle is leading that charge. What's fascinating about Seattle is how quickly it happened. This isn't a city with a long history of secularism like parts of Europe. 30 years ago, Seattle was firmly Christian. Now it's becoming one of the least religious major metros in the country. The nun population in Seattle is well over 30%. Boeing workers and Amazon engineers apparently don't need church the way their grandparents did. Coffee culture replaced Sunday morning services, and craft beer became the new communion. Landing at number 8 is Portland, Oregon. Keep Portland Weird took on a whole new meaning when it comes to religion. Portland's Christian population stood at 50% in 2014 according to Pew, and the decline hasn't stopped. What makes Portland particularly interesting is how proud the city seems to be about it. Being spiritual but not religious isn't just accepted here, it's practically the city motto. The hipster capital of America doesn't just lack interest in traditional Christianity, it actively rejects it. Yoga studios outnumber churches in some neighborhoods, and meditation centers are packed while sanctuaries sit empty. Portland represents something bigger than just declining numbers. It represents a cultural shift where organized religion isn't just irrelevant, it's uncool. Young people fleeing to Portland from conservative areas aren't looking for new churches. They're looking to escape the ones they left behind. The city became a magnet for ex-evangelicals and former Catholics who wanted nothing to do with their childhood faith. Number 7 on the list is Denver, Colorado. The mile-high city is reaching new lows in Christian affiliation. Denver saw its Christian population at 51% in 2014, and Pew's data suggests the bleeding hasn't stopped. Colorado as a whole is becoming less religious, but Denver is leading the way. What's surprising here is the speed. Denver wasn't some liberal coastal city, it was relatively conservative and church-going. The influx of young professionals from coastal cities brought their secular values with them. Tech companies setting up shop in Denver didn't just bring jobs, they brought a workforce that treats Sunday morning as sleeping in time, not service time. The outdoor recreation culture doesn't help either. When you can hit world-class ski slopes or hiking trails, competing with that for weekend attendance becomes nearly impossible. At number 6 sits Boston, Massachusetts. The city that once led America's religious founding is now leading its religious decline. This one stings because of the history. The Puritans literally founded Boston as a religious refuge. Fast forward to today, and Pew Research shows Christianity at 52% in 2014. The Catholic stronghold that defined Boston for generations is crumbling. The abuse scandals didn't just hurt the Catholic Church nationally, they devastated it in Boston specifically. When your archdiocese becomes synonymous with cover-ups and betrayal, young people don't stick around to give it another chance. They just leave. Boston's universities pump out thousands of educated young adults every year, and many of them are walking away from faith entirely. Harvard and MIT aren't exactly breeding grounds for evangelical Christianity. The city that gave America its religious roots is now exporting secularism. Los Angeles comes in at number 5. The entertainment capital is writing Christianity out of the script. LA's Christian population was at 55% in 2014, according to Pew data. Those numbers might seem less dramatic than other cities, but consider the sheer scale. Los Angeles County has 10 million people. A 4-point drop means hundreds of thousands of former Christians. Hollywood culture doesn't mix well with traditional religious values, and the entertainment industry makes that clear daily. Being openly Christian in certain LA circles is almost as career-limiting as being openly conservative. The city rewards image and ambition, not humility and faith. The megachurch model that once seemed unstoppable is showing cracks even in Southern California. Churches tried to compete by becoming more entertainment-focused, but when you're going up against actual Hollywood, you're going to lose. Number 4 is New York City. If you can make it here, you apparently don't need God there. Christianity in the New York metro was at 56% in 2014 per Pew Research. That might not sound dramatic until you remember New York is the largest metro area in America. Millions of people are walking away. The Catholic Church used to dominate New York through Irish, Italian, and Hispanic communities. Those ties are weakening fast. Second and third generation immigrants aren't maintaining their parents' religious commitments. The city that never sleeps, also, never goes to church. New York's pace of life makes weekly worship feel impossible. Working 70-hour weeks doesn't leave much time for spiritual development, and the city's culture prizes success over salvation. When your apartment costs $4,000 a month, you're not thinking about treasures in heaven, you're thinking about making rent. At number 3, we find Phoenix, Arizona. The desert is getting even more spiritually dry. Phoenix's Christian population was at 66% in 2014 according to Pew, and that decline accelerated afterward. Arizona was supposed to be part of the Bible Belt's expansion westward, but Phoenix is proving that theory wrong. Retirees flooding into Phoenix from secular areas brought their lack of faith with them. The city became a destination for people escaping cold weather, not seeking spiritual renewal. Sun City developments filled up with folks who'd already decided organized religion wasn't for them. The transient nature of Phoenix works against church community building. When everyone's from somewhere else and might leave next year, deep religious roots never form. Miami storms into number 2. The Magic City is making Christianity disappear. Miami's story is particularly shocking because Florida is supposed to be conservative and religious, yet Pew data shows Christianity at 68% in 2014. Miami represents something many didn't see coming: the secularization of the Sun Belt. Latin American immigration should have bolstered Catholicism, but younger Hispanic generations are leaving the church faster than anyone predicted. The cultural Catholicism their parents practiced isn't sticking. Party culture, materialism, and the focus on wealth accumulation in Miami creates an environment where faith becomes optional. Miami's growth attracted people chasing money and lifestyle, not spiritual depth. When your city brand is beaches, nightclubs, and luxury, church attendance feels out of place. And the number 1 city losing the most Christians is Austin, Texas. The city that was supposed to prove you could be weird and Christian is failing at the Christian part. Austin's decline is the most shocking on this list. Texas is the heart of American evangelicalism, but Austin's Christian population was at 57% in 2014 per Pew. That might seem modest, but the trend is speeding up, and Austin is dragging the rest of Texas with it. Tech companies fleeing California brought their secular workforce straight to Austin. Tesla, Oracle, and countless startups didn't just bring jobs, they brought a culture that treats Christianity as outdated. The University of Texas pumps out graduates who increasingly identify as nons. Keep Austin Weird became Keep Austin Secular. The city that was supposed to be Texas's cool younger sibling is becoming its most unchurched major metro. Churches are struggling to fill seats in a city adding 100 people per day. Those new residents aren't looking for worship communities, they're looking for craft breweries and food trucks. The pattern is clear now. Every major city following this path started the same way. Gradual decline that suddenly accelerated. Austin today looks like Seattle 15 years ago, and Seattle today might be showing us what every American city looks like in another decade. The Pew Research data doesn't just track what happened, it predicts what's coming next. The cities losing Christians fastest today are the blueprint for everywhere else tomorrow, and the acceleration isn't slowing down, it's just beginning to spread to places that thought they were immune.